Dang it. Chat's not working. Hey, everybody. Let me log into the chat. It logged me out. Sorry for being a little tardy. Come on, 1Password. Help me out here. Love 1Password until it's not working. All right, now I can. Oh, now I got to click on the. I hate reCAPTCHA, everybody. Hopefully, you guys can see and hear me. I got to click on bicycles. Let's get these bicycles. Okay, click on all the bicycles, and it's in slow motion, so I have to wait for the new ones to come and say verify. Ah, I wasn't patient enough. Find all the cars. Now I got to find all the cars. Cars. And there's more cars. Finally. Jesus Christ. Okay. And we're in. Oh, we got 25 people. Awesome. Sweet. Okay. Look. It's climbing now. Excellent. Sorry for being tardy, guys. I forgot that I trying to use the Stacks app for you guys during the live stream, just so we can do that, and I'd re-implement some of that little those little hacks that I had to get it working for a live stream. Excellent, Russell. Thank you. Your first hangout. Well, this is a live stream. Hangouts are on Fridays. Hangouts are a little different. Totally awesome though, dude. Definitely got to make sure you get those. Get onto one of those. Okay. My lights are on. Lights weren't working, like all kinds of stuff. I went to go click start and I don't know, stuff wasn't working. I hate when that happens. Okay. Now, I got preview working. All right, got the chat going. Excellent. Mr. Powers, thanks for popping in. Rami, thank you very much. So today, guys, we're going to actually, before we get started, I'm sure you probably, everyone that's here is probably already in the know and whatnot. So Summit, April 11th through the 13th. Hopefully you saw the email and the post on the community yesterday. Go and get your tickets now. Okay, go to summit.weavers.space and purchase your ticket. I had one guy, Doug. I don't know if you hear Doug. Doug had some issues purchasing. Not sure what it was. We figured it out, but let me know if you have any issues going through the checkout. I know most of you haven't. We've had quite a few attendees already. So, let me know, and we'll make sure that we fix you up and you're added to the attendee list. Now, I know right now some people are, you just get like a generic receipt. The closer we get to the summit, you'll get more information as well as invites and all kinds of stuff in the schedule. I'm still working on getting speakers, and the schedule is going to be very similar to probably last year. It's kind of a schedule that's kind of worked for many, many years. This is our 9th year, by the way. This is number 9. So super exciting. Next year will be our 10th year. Right? Pretty cool. 9th Summit is this year. Super stoked about that. We're going to have a great lineup of speakers. If you want to speak, let me know. Still got a bunch of spots open. We're always on the lookout for new blood, new victims. Ha 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 ha. Right. If you want to speak at the conference, everybody has something to teach. Right. So if you feel like you have something that you can contribute to the community, and remember, we want experience from all levels. You don't need to be an advanced user, such as Chris Powers right here, to give a talk. I'm sure Chris is going to give a talk, right? But yeah, we want people from all walks of life to share your experience, so that people that are at your level can learn from something you've done as well, right? So it's always great to get different perspectives from all levels of people in the community. So please don't be scared. If it's something that you think you have something to share, or you might want to bat some ideas around with me, reach out and we can strategize and see what we can do Yeah, to come up with a great summit again. So there we go. Okay, that's all about the summit. Go check it out. Get your ticket. Next up is today live stream. Also, actually, I did release a new stack this week, Elevator 2. Go check that out. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little stack. I decided I was releasing, as I said on last week's live stream, I think, a bunch of updates to like some jQuery stuff. And yeah, I just decided to put a little bit extra effort into Elevator, and I completely redesigned and rewrote it, or a lot of it. And yeah, it's nice. So check it out, Elevator 2. Just a way of scrolling to the top of the page. Super simple, easy to implement stack. And yesterday, or was it today? I don't remember when. At some point, I released, it was either yesterday or today. Couldn't have been today because I was getting everything ready for this. So it must have been yesterday. A stack for swatches for the elevator. So now you can swatchify elevator. Okay. So pretty cool. Today, I thought it would be nice to kind of revisit how we can style text inside stacks. Okay. Now I'm going to be doing a lot of this in Foundation 6 because, it's what we know. Okay. There are possibilities that you can use this outside. A lot of what I'm going to show today will work outside of Foundation 6 as well. But yeah, we're going to be using swatches, and that just kind of makes styling things easier. Okay. And quick tip, if you're using some other framework, you know what? Everything I'm showing you today actually will work. If you have Foundation 6, swatches will work in any framework as well. Okay. So, swatches are just CSS. So, not all of them. There are some that are very Foundation 6 specific, but, mostly everything we're going to be looking at today is generic and will work in anything, even outside of Foundation. So there we go. If you have Foundation 6, I know there's some people are like, I know how to do this in Foundation 6 with swatches, but how do I do it in Source or whatever, right? Well, if you know how to do it in Foundation 6, you know how to do it in Source, because just use Foundation 6 swatches in Source. There you go. Done. Okay. So, okay. That's it. That was last night. Thank you, Mr. Cole. Yeah. I've been working like hardcore, I have to admit, for like the past, for a long time, but 4 days at least. I've been like, started Sunday, just worked through Sunday and got Elevator released and whatnot. So yeah. Say, Joe, what are you doing with the stack in your hand? No. I got my 3D printer actually printing something. It's actually for my workshop. And I decided, I don't tend to do well with, sorry for this quick little tangent. I decided to do like the slow print option, because sometimes like I do the normal or fast print option, which takes, still takes hours. This is going to take like 20 hours, but I'm stoked to see if the slow print option works. And Chris, I put some glue stick down on the bed. You gave me that tip. I don't know. We'll see if that works. So we'll see. It's going slow, but hopefully it's going to work out. Okay. Styling text. Let's share my screen because you guys want to see the screen, not this beautiful face. Don't want to see this beautiful face. Okay. Text. So, to start off, finally, huh, Chris? Yeah. Okay. There are two primary ways to get text on your page with Foundation 6. Okay. And I'll talk about a few other ways, I guess. I guess let's just go all the way back to the beginning. Okay. So we do have the text stack. Okay. And then we have Markdown. Okay. Now, traditionally, the text stack was a style text engine. Okay. This particular style text engine that we've been used to inside RapidWeaver will no longer exist inside stacks. Okay. A modified version of it that isn't ready to be played with fully yet will be available. So there is the text stack. Okay. I know the UI of this look similar as it did in RapidWeaver. It is not. Actually, to be honest, it's been a while since I've played it. Let's see. Does it still? No. See, yeah, it doesn't do nothing yet. Okay. So it doesn't do anything yet. But style text, the style text engine was really crappy, and I've told people not to use it for many, many years. Okay, and I've instructed people to use Markdown. Okay, and Markdown, it has some crazy syntax. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of Markdown. Okay, I've done actually a live stream. If you want to learn more about Markdown, I've done a live stream on it. Okay, and watch that. Okay, but it's just a really nice way of doing headers and text and bold and some links and stuff like that. I know. I think the scariest part is links, and that tends to be the scariest part for some people. Okay, and I can understand, and I know there are plans to make that a little bit nicer and better in the future. Okay, so I just want to kind of go off. Those are the two default stacks. Okay. And then we can go up into my starter pack, which hopefully everybody has my starter pack. It is free, so you have no excuses not to have it because it's awesome. Okay. And in here, you'll notice that we have two ways. There is a text stack, okay, which for all intensive purposes is a Markdown stack. You'll notice that it shows Markdown, okay, but it has some different settings here. Okay, think of it as just a step up from the Markdown stack. Okay, and then we have a header stack. Okay, and in here you can define your headers. Okay, so now in Foundation 6, we have pretty much the same thing. Okay, and I'm going to be using the Foundation 6 stacks today. Okay, just because. Okay, so in there we have a text stack. There is an RW text stack. Just ignore that. Yeah, it was there to kind of have parity with Foundation 1. I didn't even recommend you use it in RapidWeaver. Okay. And when Stacks app officially ships, that stack will be gone. Okay. Okay. Header. So we have a text stack and a header stack in Foundation 6. And they're very similar in that the text stack is Markdown. Okay, and the header stack is a header, but it's actually, to be honest, it's actually more than a header. Okay, the name of the stack is a little misleading, and let's talk about why. Okay, and similar to the starter pack, these are very similar to the starter pack. It just the Foundation versions just have slightly more options. Okay. Yeah. Yes, and Chris says the starter pack has the world's best stack, which his favorite stack, which is called Pen, which is right here. Okay, Pen is a very popular stack. It used to be a standalone, and then I don't know, a year or two ago, I kind of consolidated a lot of my free stacks into the starter pack. And yeah, Pen is now inside the starter pack, so definitely get that. Okay. Text versus header. Okay. First off, let's look at header. Okay, and just to focus on that, I'm gonna delete the text stack. Now, inside header, okay, we have the ability to, if you notice over here in the settings, let me turn on my little this guy. There we go. Okay. So here in the size settings, you'll notice that we have the ability to choose from all the various H1s, as well as a paragraph and a span and some other stuff, right? Okay, but that's kind of weird. Like, why would I have a header stack that is a paragraph, right? It's kind of weird, but essentially what most of the time we're going to use the header stack as a header, okay? But there are other things that we can use with it, okay? Such as a paragraph. Now, why would I do this? Okay, and let's show you. Okay, I'm just going to add in, some lorem text. I cannot type today. There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to go up. One thing to note, you see in Stacks app, see how nice and big this text is and how readable it is? Man, so nice. Okay, so I just put in what looks like two paragraphs of text. Okay, inside preview. Okay, let's go ahead and look at that. Okay. I forgot about this foundation version thing. I shipped an update and I forgot to update the Stacks theme inside Stacks Pro. Sorry. So yeah, just ignore this foundation version warning. Sorry about that. Okay. Actually, do I have, let's see, disable preview checkers. Are you sure? Yes. Are you hella sure? Yes, I'm hella sure. Oh, but the version warning's still there. Dang it. Okay. Oh, well. Okay. What you'll notice here is I only have a single paragraph. Okay, even though in edit mode, I clearly put in a character return in here. And let's even just look, I can put in a lot. Let's go in. I'm going to put in a character return. So there we go. Right. You would think, but look, even in here, inside of edit mode, I just have one blob of text. Okay. And that's because the header stack is essentially a way of creating one of something. Okay. So like if I were to change this to an H5, this entire thing is now an H5, right? So it essentially allows you to create a element. It literally creates a element. So it is a paragraph, no matter how much text you add into here. And if you try to put in markdown, like if I try to do in, blah, 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 header, okay, that ain't going to work. It's just going to put in literally what you type in, okay? So markdown is not supported in here at all. These character returns doesn't matter. Everything is just whatever's in there is a element. It is a paragraph in this case and H1 in that case, right? If we preview, let's look at the inspector here. Okay. If we look at that, it is, let's make that a little bit bigger. All right. If we look right here, this entire bit of text is in one H5 tag. Okay. Now, what's kind of cool, just to let you know, because we're going to do this later on, let's do, there's classes. So let's just call this my class, right? And if we look inside preview now, okay, we will see. Oops, did I not save that or something? Inspect. There it is. So you'll see now that I have an H5 and the class that I put inside that header stack is on the actual H5 tag. See it right here, right? H5 class, my class. Okay, there's some spaces in there, but that doesn't matter. Okay. So there we go. That's, again, the header stack is for creating a element. This is going to be very important later on when we go to try to style all this stuff. Okay. All right. So now, let's put that back to a paragraph. Oops. Yeah. Paragraph. All right. And now let's add in a text stack. Okay. All right. So let's just, the default markdown has some complicated stuff that we're not even going to try to worry about. Okay. Actually, here, let's just go ahead and, inside here, I'm just going to take this same exact text and we're going to paste it in the text stack. Man, I love the text size here. It's so nice. Okay. Boom. All right. So now inside edit mode, we can immediately see a difference. Okay. Now the text stack, it doesn't allow you to define any sort of element, right? Because essentially in edit mode, it accepts markdown. And in markdown, when you put in a character return or empty line right here, markdown is going to create a paragraph out of that, a paragraph out of that, and a paragraph out of that. It's kind of what we would expect, right? And there's no fancy syntax here. It just does what we would expect it to do for a paragraph. When I put in a new line, it creates a new paragraph. Okay. So it makes things easier. Okay. And just for fun, let's go ahead and preview that. Right. And you'll see again, this is our header. That is one big paragraph. And we have 1, 2, 3 separate paragraphs. And if we look at the code, okay, if we look at the code there, Let's make that a little bit bigger. Actually, we don't need. Let's close that. All right. You'll see that I have 1, 2, 3 paragraphs here. And you see, as I highlight them, they highlight themselves inside the browser. Okay. And paragraphs tend to have a margin on the bottom. Therefore, there's space in between each one. All right. Now, remember how we put a class on this header and it put a class directly on the paragraph, right? Let's look at what happens in the text stack if I put in my text. Oops, let's type that properly. Okay. And let's preview that. Actually, can I just reload that page? All right. So now if I inspect that, you'll see right here, okay, you'll see that the text stack has something that the normal header stack doesn't have. So this was the header stack that we had set to be a paragraph. It is a paragraph, okay, and the paragraph has my class. Now the text stack creates something called a div, and that's just like, think of a div as just a generic box or a generic container that holds stuff. Okay. Now, because the markdown can generate many things, multiple paragraphs, bullet lists, all kinds of stuff. Okay. What it does is it encapsulates it all inside of a container. Okay. And that class gets added to that container that contains all of our text. Okay. So in this case, when I added the my text class, it didn't get added to the individual paragraphs. It gets added to a container that's added around all of that text. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Now put that in your brain. That's a very important distinction that we need to know when we're trying to style our text content. Okay. The chat's quiet, so please let me know if there's any questions. Okay, that you know something I need to review again. Okay, so now let's start styling some stuff. Okay, so let's just go ahead and let's go ahead and here we'll just unload some of those. Okay, so. I'm not going to dive through every single font style and font families and all that jazz because I want to get to some cool stuff today. We're not covering just fundamentals today, okay? But there are obvious things such as font color and text color, which is kind of an important thing, okay? What are the differences there? Okay. If you notice in text colors, okay, actually, let me turn back on the color palettes in Site Styles. Okay, before we explain this swatch, let's look at site styles in general. Okay, you'll see in site styles, there's something called component colors and text colors. Okay, and text colors allows us to define the colors for headers and subheaders and small elements, which are a feature of the header stack. Okay, a small element. The generic text color, so like our default font color on the page, and then link colors and the link hover color, the covers of links when we hover over them. Now, what you might also notice is there is some alt colors here, okay? And these are useful because these allow, a lot of times we want to have two variations of colors on our page, okay? We want to have our default colors and then maybe like alternate colors. You know, sometimes our websites will have, let's say, a light section of the page and then a dark section and then a light section and then a dark section. Essentially, this alt allows us to define colors for our darker sections. Okay. And it's super easy to use these alternate colors. Okay. Simply by adding in the class of alt. Okay. So if I do alt here. Okay. Let's go ahead and delete my class. Right, and let's add alt here. Right. Right. Now this is a very important thing I wanted to show you. How come when I added alt to this, it was black, But then when I added alt here, everything turned white, which is our alternate color. Why is that? Well, the way these text colors schemas work, okay, or the text color swatch, okay. Essentially, Site Styles has two text color swatches built in: the default on the page for everything, and then an alternate class, okay. And essentially, the alternate class, these tend to be applied at a container level, okay. So when I added it directly to a header, it didn't necessarily work. Okay. Actually, it does work inside. My bad. It actually doesn't. It only doesn't work in edit mode, which is actually a bug, probably. Okay. So inside preview, it does work. Okay. So everything got the alternate color. Now, in order to see this better, we could probably make our site color background, or just temporarily make it like a gray. And there we go. So there's our alternate colors. Okay. Now, if I were to go ahead and remove the alternate color from the header, okay, that header is now black. Okay. So the alt class is a powerful thing. It allows us to have two different color schemes that we can use across our pages. And it's super easy just by adding the alt keyword. Okay. And what's powerful about it is you can add it at the individual element level, like on a header, or an entire container. And just to show you, like, you can actually add this. Let's say I have a container, and let's remove the alt class from this. And I know that this container, actually here, let's go ahead and make my site background white again. Okay. And let's say I know I want this container. Let's say it's a section of my web page that is going to be dark. Okay, so I'm going to make it BG black. So it's going to be a background. Okay, and I'm going to add in all my text. Now, obviously, when I do that, okay, the background is black, but the text isn't. So what I'm going to do is to control the text of the colors of everything inside of this section. All I'm going to do is set it to be alt. And again, it seems like there is a bug there with that, but it will work inside preview. Okay. So the alternate color will get used for everything inside this section. Super cool. All right. So when you add let's go back to what I was showing before. When you add a text colors swatch, it is essentially adding a third text color scheme. Okay. Let's say, if the default color scheme didn't work and you don't want to use the alternate colors. Okay. And by the way, all of these colors are defined right here inside Site Styles. Normal colors, alternate colors. So if you ever needed a third text color scheme, you can do that. Okay. And let's just call this one my text. Okay. And in here, I want my, well, we only have paragraph on the page. So I'm going to make my text color to be, let's make it, or just so we can see it's slightly different, we'll make it like a bright green. Okay. And so this is called my text. Okay. And now if I put on this container, my text, it is, well, that doesn't look too great on let's turn off the BG black. Okay. And whoop, what happened? Let's see. My text. Did I change something? Hold on, let me just look at the other classes. All right. So I have my text and the text. Oh, the color didn't save. Sometimes I hate the color picker inside the default Apple color picker. All right. We're just to make it just so it stands out. You see that now again. Bug in here in edit mode. Now everything is getting applied. Now, if I were to add in a header, let's go ahead in here and let's just add in a my header. Okay. So now I've added a header inside this text stack. Okay. If I go into here and let's say I wanted my header colors to be blue. Okay. That green is absolutely horrible. Now let's just go into here. All right, let's just do the color wheel. Right, there we go. Something that's still wouldn't use that, but whatever. Right, so now we have purple text and a blue header. Okay. All right, so that is what text colors will do. Okay, it allows you to, again, you apply the colors of an element or for all the sub elements within a container or within a wrapper. Okay, and again, you can do it at a container level like this, or you can just chuck it at the text stack, because remember we learned earlier, the text stack is just a wrapper around text elements, in this case, a header and 3 paragraphs. All right, so what does the font color swatch do? Okay, I'm just going to delete that text color. Let's focus on font color. Font color is something that you need to apply to a very specific element, not a container. Okay, so let's just call this my color. Okay, and let's just set it to, or we'll set it to red for now. It's going to be red. Okay, so my color. I'm going to go ahead and put my color on the header. And what you see, boom, that is now red. And I'm going to put it on the text stack. Okay. And what you see is the text stack didn't do it. Now let's look in preview. Okay. So why is that? Okay. So again, remember what I said is the font color swatch needs to be applied to a specific element. Okay. It needs to be applied directly to something. Okay. And directly to text. So in the case of this header, okay, this header here, or this paragraph from the header stack is, the class is assigned directly to that. Okay, so it's getting the color. But in here, the color is getting assigned to the container, and that doesn't necessarily affect the individual elements. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes sense. Okay. Still no questions, people. I'm hoping you're understanding all of this. So hopefully that I know that is a very confusing thing, especially for new people. And I do have other videos on this as well. There's actually a very targeted video on the Foundation demo site that I think it's like 5 minutes that goes over exactly what I've done in the last 20 minutes. Okay. But yeah, I wanted to give you a little bit further, more in-depth explanation of what that is all about. Okay, because I know that's a very thing. Now, what could I do to this swatch to make it work with this? I mean, there's other things. There's some hacks we can do, right? So that inside here, you can do selector add-ons. You could just say all child elements. Okay, so now we're saying go to my color and all child elements make red. Okay. Now, if we look at this, what you'll see now is what's interesting is this is no longer red, but the text is. And the reason for that, and funny enough, it's actually in edit mode, it's flipped. So that's actually a bug. Okay. The reason is, so let's put in our settings for our swatch over here, and let's preview. So this header here, okay, this header, remember our swatch, we said find the class my color and apply this red color to all child elements. Now the header, there is no child element because the class my color is directly on the paragraph, so there are no child elements. So this swatch, this red swatch, gets applied to nothing here. Okay. But in this case down here, the my color is assigned to that wrapper around my text, which contains a header and 3 paragraphs. So this header and these 3 paragraphs are child elements of my color. Let's look at this in the browser. So maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, so if we look here, okay, again, if we look at this, we have a paragraph for the class of my color, and there are no child elements. So that red color never gets assigned to anything. All right, but now let's look at this container. Here we have my text stack, which as we see here is a div class text, and here is the my color class. Now, because this has direct children, each individual child gets assigned a red color. Hopefully this is making sense. Okay. What if you use a parent class to the container? Yes, you could do that too, Gaston. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat. I'm not going to go into every other possible combination. Yeah, you could use parent class. There's all kinds of other pseudo selector add-ons that you can add into this as well. You can also do all descendants, okay, which is slightly different. I don't plan on doing an exhaustive explanation of all of this today. Okay, but I thought it was a very important thing to talk to you guys about the difference between the font color swatches and the text swatches. Okay, or the text colors swatch. Let's see, Sean, if I wanted to add a font color to the middle of a paragraph in the text stack. So, Sean, that is a perfect question that I was actually planning on going to next. Okay. Could I add a span? Man, you're ahead of me, Sean. I'm going to be teaching you about spans in like 30 seconds. Good question, though, Sean. Great question. Okay. Now, there are a lot of other font styles that we can do other than colors, right? So inside font style, we have text size, the weight of a font. Do we want it italic? Do we want to adjust the line height? Okay. And these styles they all behave similar to the font color swatch. Okay. Where the font style should be applied to individual elements. Okay. Now in this swatch here, we can actually apply styles to individual elements as well as a parent class, and we can do child elements and all that stuff as well. Okay. But yeah, this particular one, if just to show you, let's make 24. Let's do 24 pixels on everything. Okay. And let's just call this, it's my class. Okay. So let's just do my class. Click on that. All of a sudden, boom, that is now 24 pixels. Okay. Now let's do it on this. Oh, interesting. It did do it actually on here. I didn't expect that to actually do that on that text class. Interesting. Okay. I guess I was wrong. It's probably because of some ways I'm doing, I probably made this work a different way for people having some issues. Okay. It doesn't work necessarily like the font color swatch. So I was wrong on that one. Okay. If you wanted to make that bold, so on and so forth, right? So you can set that to your font weight. Now, if you have Font Pro, there's some more styles that you can do. Okay. I'm not going to dive into all the fonts today. We are going to play a little bit with fonts, but I'm not going to do a deep dive onto it. We're going to use some Google fonts just because it's super easy. Okay. But there's also a Font Pro style. Okay. And at this point, we have a lot of granular stuff, what we could do with like letter spacing, word spacing. Like there's some very granular stuff that we can do with, and this comes with our Font Pro swatches. Okay. This Font Pro style does not come with Foundation 6. It's part of our Font Pro product that integrates well into Foundation. Okay. And here you can do all kinds of stuff. You can do a stroke on text. You can add text shadows. We have text shadows in the shadow swatch in Foundation, but here you can do it within Font Pro. And I think it might have a few other settings here that the others doesn't. I don't remember. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of more professional style granular text settings here within the Font Pro styles swatch. Okay. Again, I'm not going to dive into all of that today. Okay. Because I wanted to get into a new subject. Or something, and I'm actually running out of time. So I think it was 2 weeks ago, I showed off I'm going to open up the foundation demo project. Okay. Because now you might have saw this post on the community, and it was about creating an animated highlight. Okay. And let's just let this load. I didn't have this inside. This is just an existing RapidWeaver project, so now we got to open up RapidWeaver. Sorry. Okay, just for speed. I could do the same exact thing here. Let's do now. Actually, oh man, I forgot. I actually went to the nth degree here to kind of really document everything what's going on here. Okay, but we'll review it all today. Okay, and actually for fun, let's just go ahead and let's just take these, just copy those, and let's paste it in here. Okay, cool. Now I don't need this. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Okay. All right, let's go through this. I'm going to minimize site styles, and let's delete this container, which we don't need. Okay. Hey, did you just see I can copy and paste from my old RapidWeaver projects into new Stacks projects, right? Hopefully you saw that. Okay. Because remember, I'm using Stacks app right now. Okay. So highlighting. Let's preview this. Okay. And oops, what's going on here? Oh, did I break it? Is there a that should have. Ah, darn it. What did I do? All right. We might need to do it in the other one. Darn it. And I just quit it too. All right. Instead of me trying to debug what's going on there, we'll, did I break something? Darn. Oh, well. Okay. I didn't test that obviously beforehand, as you can see. All right. Let's preview this. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Actually, you know, I'm wondering if did I have anything in? No, there was nothing inside styles. Okay. Whatever. We'll review the implementation here. Okay. All right. So as Sean alluded to earlier, how can we apply styles to the middle to text within a paragraph? Okay. Now in this case, I'm doing kind of a fun effect where I'm taking this bit of text and I'm adding a highlight to it. Now there's a few interesting aspects of this. The highlight is actually kind of angled up a little bit. It's not like perfectly centered, which I like, right? It makes it more normal, right? I mean, less perfect, right? Which when you're highlighting something on a page, you're never exact, right? It's always a little bit off centered, maybe a little bit up. It's not perfectly straight, right? So I kind of tried to mimic that with this. And so let's review how that is accomplished. And it just uses a header stack, as you can see here, okay? But the powerful thing here is something called a span tag, okay? So if we look at this, okay, see, look how small this text is versus I go over here, okay? Look how nice and look at that is nice, so much nicer, okay? So let's look at it here just so we have this open. This is and if you see, I have a span class equals highlight. And I basically put this around. Actually, let's copy this, okay? And let's just open up VS Code here. Okay. And let's just make this big. All right. Well, this is my. Okay. So let's say this was my text that I had, right? And let's just do language mode HTML. All right. So in here, you'll notice that first off, let's simplify it. Okay. So inside of my text, okay, or of my paragraph, I'm going to put in these little span tags. Okay. And what that allows me to do is that allows me to target parts of my text. Okay. So here, what I did is I also added a class to my span so that I can easily identify this particular span or any span that has the class of highlight. Okay. So, and you can have as many of these spans as you want inside of your text. This can be inside of a paragraph. This could be inside Markdown. This could be inside of a header, wherever you want. Okay. And these spans, they don't add any extra space. They don't add new lines unless you apply those things with the class with swatches. Okay. Now this highlight example is a little advanced. Okay. But let's go ahead and look at this. Okay. This is definitely an advanced option. I probably should have showed something a little simpler. Okay. Because let's do a simple version of this. Okay. And I am in here. Let's go back over to here. I'm gonna do one called highlighter. Okay, I'm gonna add an ER to it here, just so that it's a different class. Okay, so highlighter. Okay, and so to do something basic here, I'm just gonna go ahead and go to background. I'm gonna add a background swatch. Okay, actually, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a new swatches in here. We're gonna minimize that. Actually, move this up here. Okay, all right. So we don't get distracted. So here, we're going to do highlighters. Okay. So here we're going to do highlighter. Okay. Highlighter. Okay. And I'm just going to do background color, and let's pick, oh, there. And as you see it, you can see it right there. Boom. Now, so that gets us, hey, that's most of the way there. But again, that's kind of like a perfect highlight, right? But let's make it, obviously we don't want it. It would be nice to have maybe a little bit of oomph at the beginning and end. So maybe we can like add like, I don't know, a padding. Okay. And, let's do like a highlighter. Okay. And, let's do detailed, and I only want left and right. So we're going to do like 4 pixels on the left and 4 pixels on the right. And it helps if I spell it right. Let's just copy that to clipboard. There we go. So it adds a little bit before and the end, but what that does is it actually adds extra space between the text as well. So it does modify kind of the flow of the text a little bit. Okay. But as you see, I can now target parts of my text. Now, and there's a lot of things that we can do here. Okay. So for example, let's go ahead and is this a header? This is an H3. Let's make this an H1. Okay. And let's have a little bit of fun. Okay. So highlight is something that you can do, but let's do something more practical. Okay. Let's say, okay, that's an H1. Okay. Let's go ahead. I'm going to add in, we're going to do more text. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's, all right, we're going to, here, let's do this. I'm going to keep that the way it is. Actually, let's go ahead and I'm going to put highlight back in there. Okay. And then we're going to do, I'm just going to copy this above. All right. Let's ignore that. Let's go into here. Okay. And let's just do this. All right. So now I have a header, and let's just do some lorem text. Okay. I don't want that much lorem text though. Let's just go the first bit. Okay. There we go. So I have a nice big paragraph. Okay. And, let's look at our styles for H1s, right? Okay. So we got 48 pixels, and our default font, the font family is just going to be the system font, right? And the weight is going to be the 400. Okay. But let's play around with some stuff. Let's say we want to have, let's do font size. Actually, no, font style. Okay. And I'm going to apply this to my H1. And instead of text size, I'm going to apply a weight of 200. Okay, so we have thin, right? So there we go. So now my H1s are thin. Okay. And, one thing that is very common is you're going to, within a paragraph, maybe make this particular one bold. Okay. Or, so you can take key terms inside of a sentence and make them bold. Okay. So let's work on that. That's something that's very common. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a font style. Okay. And let's just call this bold. Right. So font style bold. And then that is going to be a weight of, let's do 600. Okay. Not sure how that will look. Let's play with that. Okay. So now I'm going to go into here and let's say I wanted this particular word to be bold. Okay. So we're going to do span class equals bold. And we're going to close the span on there. All right. And just for kicks, let's add it in let's just copy this. And we're going to add it to maybe right here. And we're going to close it after 2 words. All right. So let's look at that really quick. So here I have class span equals bold. And then you have that, my close span tag. You got to make sure your close span tag has a little slash in it. Right. And then over here I have span class bold. And then we have our closing span tag. Okay. So now we'll see it right here in edit mode. Okay. That particular bits of text are now bold and they stand out. This is a very common design, utility for text. Now, I could also then take the font. Let's do font color. Font color. Jesus, I can't type today. And we're gonna to bold as well. Maybe we want to make those instead of black. We want to actually make those a special color. Okay. Maybe we want to make it like that, right? Boom. So now those bits of text are styled within my paragraph or my header or whatever. Okay. It doesn't matter what it is. These span tags you can use anywhere you want. Okay. And then you can target them with swatches. Pretty cool, right? Now, this is just a simple idea. You can then go a lot of different ways. You can actually, let's go ahead and add a Google font. Okay. And let's do Merriweather is a nice font. Hopefully I just spelled that right. Let's see. Okay. And I think 200 is what I set my font to. I don't know if Merriweather has 200. We'll find out in a second. All right. Let's preview that. Nope, Merriweather does not have 200. Okay. Let's try Lotto. I know I spelled that right. I think that has 200. Oh, that doesn't have 200 either. What? Actually, here, let's do right font. Remind me later. Let's do Google Fonts. Let's do Lotto. What weights is that? Regular. What is light? Light might be 300. I bet you it's here. Let's try Lotto 100. There it goes. All right. Wow, that's really light. Holy smokes. All right, let's try 300. All right, I like that. Okay, 300. Okay, now, then what we can do is on those bolds. Okay, let's do something even more interesting. Let's see. All right, let's try Mary. So if you notice, Merryweather is a serif. Okay, Lotto is a sans serif. Without getting crazy into typography here, it's basically these the little things at the end of our characters. Those are called serifs. Okay, and if you look at Lotto, which we can see up here, well, that's not Lotto, but that is a sans serif. A sans serif means without a serif. Okay, so there's no little ligatures at the end of each letter. Okay, hence they're fonts like this one here are called a sans serif because they do not have a serif, whereas serif fonts do have them. Okay, all right. So let's look at Merryweather and let's do. Okay, it has a 400. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm going to do this. We're gonna do Merryweather. I don't know if this is what I'm going to be doing is actually going to look good, but we'll find out in a second. Let's make that 400. All right, and I don't want to apply that to H1. Okay. So here I'm assigning Merryweather to the Merryweather class, and I'm actually not going to assign it to anything on the page. Okay. But so what I'm going to do is now, let's say I want to have these to be bold, and Merryweather. Okay. And actually, I'm going to have to change the bold because I think I set the bold to be 600. I loaded Merryweather as 400. Okay, so let's go over here. We're going to change that to be 400. Boom. All right. So now you can mix and match. I'm not sold on this exact connection. Actually, maybe the opposite. Here, let's try the opposite of that. So I'm going to set Merryweather to be my header font at 400. Okay. And then here, we're just going to change this. And this is going to be Lotto is 300. Okay. And I'm not going to assign Lotto to H1s. And we have the Lotto class. And I'm just going to set Lotto class here. Just to be, because I'm going to be lazy, to red. All right. So now in here, we're going to change this from bold to be Lotto, right? Lotto. All right. And again, Google Fonts will not load inside edit mode for performance reasons. So let's preview that. And I don't love that either. Okay. But as you can see, you can mix and match things now, right? I think it actually looked better previously. Okay. So you can not only mix up styles, but you can then make some text that you want to maybe accent. Here, let's do something else. Let's do fit text. Let's do fit text, and I'm just gonna do element. Let's do CSS. Let's do H1. Okay. Ooh, interesting. Position relative. Why did I do that? Interesting. Oh, worked great inside the browser. Huh. Interesting. But here, let's do, let's make it even bigger. Let's do like 150 to 250. You know, that there are some, that's quite large, right? But this uses, there are things that use text as a design element. And you'll see stuff like this on a particular website, right? Where you have this ginormous text, right, on the page. And so something like that could work, right? Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd play with the fit text settings there, but yeah, it could work. Pretty cool. Okay. Or you can do something like this where, this particular thing maybe makes that particular word stand out, right? And again, they're bits of a larger paragraph. Okay, cool. All right. I know we are already at the 1 hour mark, or actually past it a little bit. I did want to show off a little bit more of that highlight. Actually, I'll admit, when I planned this live stream, I forgot that I used some more advanced swatches to create this highlight. Okay. I did do some nice overviews, okay, of what I do with this highlight. Essentially, what I'm doing is I'm creating something called a pseudo element. Okay. So let's target this particular highlight. Okay. So in here, this highlight, I'm not highlighting the actual text. What I'm doing is I'm creating a fictitious element behind the text. Okay. Let's just use the inspector here to kind of teach you. Again, this is definitely kind of next level stuff. Okay. Use something called a pseudo element. So here is, you'll see that this is my text. I have my H1 and it says this is text. And then inside there, I have a span. Okay. And why is toggler enabled? I must have toggler somewhere here. I forget. Okay. So here I have a before element. Okay. Here's my highlight text. This before element is what contains the highlight. Okay. It's just basically a yellow box. Okay. That I'm shoving behind the text. Okay. So if I turn that off, you can see it's just this yellow box that's behind the text. Okay. And so let's review everything here. I'm going to go a little quick. Okay. Hopefully you guys can follow along. So here, in this pen, we actually create the highlight. Okay. And this pseudo content stack is actually what creates it. Okay. It doesn't look fancy, but all it's doing is saying, okay, highlight, and we're going to create the pseudo element before the element. You can actually have two pseudo elements for every element on a web page. You can have a before and an after. Okay. I just used the before. Okay. Now, I want to position that, okay, relative to the parent, which is that bit of text. Okay. So here I have this before element and I want to position it so it kind of expands this entire parent, which is the span itself. So the parent of the before element is the span. Now, if you use the position swatch, you know that we need to make, when we want something to be relative to the parent, we need to make sure that that parent is set to be relative. So that's why I have a position swatch over here where the highlight class is set to be a position of relative. Okay. And then here, I basically set the element to be top 0, bottom 0, left -5, and right -5. Now, the reason I'm doing right and left -5 is to draw it outside of the bounds of the span. So I'm actually dragging it to be bigger than the span. Okay. And then here, I set the background to be yellow, that highlighter yellow. Okay. And an important thing is here, I set the class to be highlight. And a big thing here is you need to make sure you set the selector add-on to be before, because we want to apply, if I didn't set that, okay, let's look at the page. Now it's applying the background to the highlighted text, to the actual span, not to our before element. Okay. So it's very important that we do that. Okay. So now how do we do all the fancy animation? All right, let's refresh that so we can kind of see. Voila. Okay. So now let's look at the animation. Oh, now I remember why I have the toggle stuff on there. So here I'm using a toggle on scroll swatch. Okay. Which is kind of interesting because if this were further down the page, the highlight would happen as it scrolls into view. Now, because this is on our page by default, it just happens on page load. Okay. but the toggler on scroll will basically apply this particular style that we're going to be doing on scroll. And basically what this is doing is when it's into view, so we want to trigger on highlight. When when that span becomes into the view, we want to add the expand class. Okay. So it's basically going to add or remove that expand class. And you probably saw that when we looked at it. There is highlight, there's an expand class. Okay. And if we refresh this page, if we look really quick, if I get it, I didn't get it fast enough. On page load, that expand class didn't exist. Okay. It got added by the swatch. So if I manually remove that, well, it only controls there it is. So boom, it's gone. Okay. So when I add that expand class, voila, it adds the animation of the highlight. Okay, just by adding and removing that class. Okay, now when you want to do something like that, actually, I'm explaining the toggler on scroll stack now, but I didn't add this until afterwards. Okay, because basically what we want to do is let's set up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trash that and that for now. Okay, just to kind of show you what this does. Okay, so first off, we have two states. Okay, we have a transform swatch, okay, without the expand class, and we have a transform swatch with the expand class. Okay, so let's look at the default. Okay, so transform on highlight, I am scaling by 1 and 1, so basically making it itself, and I'm adding a skew of -5 degrees and -3 degrees. Right, and what that does is that adds that skew, so it's not perfectly centered. Right, that kind of gives it what I think it's the more realistic look. Right, where it's skewed by 5 degrees and 3 degrees. Okay, now when we add the expand class, what we'll see is here, okay, I have scale X from 0, okay, and the only difference is here scale X is 1. Okay, what does that mean? So basically what that means is by default I'm setting the scale of X to 0. So it's basically squishing this down to 0. And then when I add the expand class, it's going to make it expand all the way to 0 on the X axis. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So let me refresh this page. Okay. So let's inspect that. Okay. Again, right, I remove those animate swatches, so it actually doesn't automatically add the class for us. Okay, so now I have highlight. Okay, and I'm going to add the expand class. Okay, so again, what that does is it changes the scale of the X along the X axis from 0 to 1. Just so you can kind of see what that does, I'm going to set the default to be 0.25. Okay, let's refresh that. Okay, so as you see here, by default, I scaled the X axis to be 0.25, so it's only a quarter of the width. But what I wanted is I wanted to be completely 0 so that you don't see it at all. Hopefully that makes sense. And then when we set the scale to 1, it's going to expand that out. Okay. Now, obviously we don't want the highlight to show up like this. Right? We don't want it to show up like, let's go back to inspector. Let's add the expand class. I don't want it to be instantaneous, right? I don't want it to be like, boom. I want it to actually highlight out. Okay. And the swatch that we use to do that is called a transition swatch. Okay. So our transition swatch here says, okay, anything on highlight before Okay, remember, I should have said this transform swatch. Remember, it's important that the selector be before on both of these, because that's what we're transforming, is the before pseudo element. Okay, so for highlight before, so for the pseudo element, I want to transition over 300 milliseconds, so a third of a second, and I actually delay it by 1.5 seconds. So I want to delay the start of that by 1.5 seconds, then take 1/3 of a second to actually expand out. So let's see that in action. So that's why you see when we reload the page, you get a delay, because I'm delaying that animation, so that, you know, maybe as the user is scrolling, we want it to happen immediately on page load. We want to delay a little bit so that it catches the user's eye when the animation does happen. Okay, and the animation speed, as you saw, it happened in 1/3 of a second. Okay, 300 milliseconds. And then, I explained this toggler on scroll. That toggler then automates the addition of that expand class, so that we can automate that, adding and removing of that expand class onto the span. Okay, there we go. Okay, guys. Hopefully you guys learned something. I know we got a little advanced towards the end, but yeah, Sean, good job on envisioning where I was going with this, right? So yeah, really good stuff. Spans, learning how to style things with them, so that you can do either different colors, parts of the text, different sizes, different fonts, even. Okay. Yeah, really cool stuff. I hope you learned something today. Let me see if there's any questions that I overlooked. Nope, I think that's it. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on Friday, okay, at the Hangout. That is 1:30 p.m. Pacific on Fridays. Same time every Friday. We'll see you then. And we can, that way we get actually interactive. This is a very one-way thing where it's me talking to you guys. That is definitely a group setting where we all get to interact with each other. Unfortunately, sometimes. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you there. And remember, get your ticket to the summit. They're available now, April 11th to the 13th. It is a 3-day event that, it's a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll get to join us there and learn and grow and have a great time. So take care, everybody. Hope you have the great rest of your day. I'm now getting tongue-tied, and I need to get some water. Take care, everyone. Take care. Bye.